welcome to Plastered with Poe, the series finale, y'all.
Ooh.
We have brought you now 3 weeks of drunk performers recounting their favorite stories
Having a lot of fun.
of Edgar Allan Poe. Mm-hmm.
And now it's time for it all to come to a close.
It's been a wild ride.
As I was going to say something really profound, but I was going to say, as the leaves fall from the trees and the world dies, so does our show.
That was some profound shit. Okay, so we'll give you a rundown for those of you who have not seen this show before. Basically, Plastered with Poe. It's a blatant ripoff of Drunk History. So you're going to see some, local New Orleans nightlife people, people from New Orleans and beyond, recount their favorite Poe stories and poems.
And the beyond.
And the beyond, yes. I'd like to think that he's here with us in our hearts, yes. So why don't you want to get this moving here?
Yeah.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to the last edition of Plastered with Poe, and I'm here to bring you just a little drunken snippet of one of my favorite poems called To Helen. It's one of Poe's lady poems. He wrote a lot of poems about ladies, and this one is about Helen. So here we go. Helen, thy beauty is to me like those Nicean barks of yore. Bark is a ship, in case you didn't know. That gently o'er a perfumed sea the weary wayward wanderer bore to his own native shore. She brings him home. It's so lovely. On desperate seas long wont to roam, thy hyacinth hair, thy classic face, thy naiad airs have brought me home to the glory that was Greece and the grandeur that was Rome. Not just one, but both. Lo, in yon brilliant window niche, how statue-like I see thee stand, the agate lamp within thy hand. Ah, Psyche, from the regions which are Holy Land.
So, next up, I guess we're moving right on
we're
along.
just breezing through this.
Did we do the, no, we didn't do the other part. The welcome back part.
Oh.
Yeah, we still gotta do that. Welcome back, and you're welcome.
You're so welcome.
Told you it was gonna be great. Were we wrong? No.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I think you guys are ready for this next performer. This next performer is near and dear to my heart because they're my baby.
Oh.
They are. I've only ever birthed 2 burlesque children into this world, and they are one of them. They are the fabulously talented and wonderful and adorable and sweet and kind Mexii Rose.
Mexii Rose.
Yes. Bringing you another Poe lady poem.
Ooh, what could it be?
Oolaloom.
Oolaloom.
Mm-hmm. Check it out.
Hello guys, and welcome to Plastered with Poe. Well, if you can't understand what that means, I'm plastered, and I'm going to be giving you guys, in my own words, an Edgar Allan Poe poem. Because, I mean, if you're watching this, you're probably like a goth kid, emo little shit like myself, you know. Well, this is the only access to alcohol I had in my small town, so let's get to it. The poem I'm going to be reading or summarizing to you guys tonight, or whatever time it is where you're viewing, is Ula-Loom. It's kind of your go-to spooky October Halloween thing. And it's really gothy, I guess, but in a sense it's kind of weird. It's a creepy poem, but it's good. Right. So there's some, like, the mood is being set to spooky. I'm gonna overuse the word spooky. He is walking, and he mentions it's October. The leaves were crisped. So he had some crispy ass leaves he's walking on. And then he just starts walking, and you think he's alone, but then, like, he has, like, his soul, like his conscience, who he calls Psyche. Go. Yeah, I'm just by myself, you know. Oh shit. Who are you?
I am you. Damn. I'm your Psyche.
Want to take a walk?
Hell yeah.
I guess it's his psyche, like his inner thoughts, maybe. But they're just, like, hanging out, and they keep walking. Like, this is just them just going. And he's, like, he describes, like, his feelings like a volcano. He's in a happy mood. And he's just going. They just keep walking. And then they come across, like, this light. There's a light that keeps flashing. But his psyche was like, that's like, we ain't gonna mess with that because that's sketchy. Bubbles. Oh man. And my guy's like, oh shit, you know, this light, I feel like it could take us somewhere, you know, like he's just like, hey, you know, it's like, he's probably seeing some shit. It's a light to guide us. I'm gonna follow it.
Bitch, that's some white people shit. You better turn your ass around.
But it's gonna take me to my love because it's Venus.
Okay, you fucked up. I'm out.
But he's just like, they're just lost in the woods. He's just lost in the fucking woods. And him and his psyche, they're lost in the woods, and they see a light. And they keep going. They're just, you know, trekking along. Just vibing with this light. They keep going. And going. And I'm gonna tell you guys, this poem is short for a reason. They just keep going. Like, remember, he has, like, no idea where he's at. So, all he knows is the leaves are crispy and it's October. And he's just going for a walk. And bring you guys to the end, the most dramatic thing. He just walks up on this tomb. Go. Oh shit, what's that? Bitch.
Dun 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 dun. It's the tomb of Lula-Loom.
Lula-Loom.
Ooh-la-Loo. Why is there a light? There's a light.
And there it is. Ula-Loom. His dead lover. And all the shit just keeps flooding back into him. And that's it. He walks up on his dead lover's tomb and was like, oh shit, a year ago today I buried her in the tomb. And that's your story, guys. Ula-Loom.
That was
Give it
Mexii
up
Rose.
for my baby. My first burlesque child, definitely, it was like a teen mom situation where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna love it anyway. But like Mexii, like I was ready for her.
Yeah.
They were a planned pregnancy. So yeah, who we got going on? Oh, I know who's next.
I know who's next.
Yeah. Do
Are you
you want
ready
to
for this?
introduce this person, or should I?
I mean, I guess I can. So, next up, we have the Satanic Dream, Velvet Spade. Oh, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's me. I am going to be doing the Raven.
The most iconic Poe M.
It's I hope that I do it justice. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I mean, who's spookier of a person to do some spooky?
Yeah, like you are the thing that goes bump in the night.
We'll see. I may or may not call in this throughout the. We'll see.
All right. Next up, Velvet Spade.
Nevermore. Hello, I'm Velvet Spade. Today, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. So, to preface it a little bit, The Raven talks about his lover named Lenore, who you may have heard about in one of the past weeks of Plastered with Poe. Lenore is, supposed to be like his special lady. A lot of people think that when Edgar Allan Poe wrote it, he was thinking about his wife, Virginia, who had passed away. So keep that in mind. Maybe go back, rewatch, the episode with Lenore. And come back and watch this. So, premise of the story is that Lenore has passed away. And so, poor Edgar Allan Poe, original emo boy, is very distraught about it. I mean, who wouldn't be? It doesn't say how long ago it has been since she passed away, but he's very upset about it. Very, wanting to forget. That's kind of like a big theme in this poem, is like wanting to forget. So, Edgar Allan Poe, he's just chilling at home. He's reading some lore. Doesn't specify what kind, but probably like occult stuff, if we had to guess. And so he's sitting at home reading some lore. It's kind of like when you watch like scary movies like right before you go to bed, That's how I'm like looking at this. It's kind of like he was like reading scary stuff right before he goes to bed, and then he gets himself like a little bit spooked, And so then he hears like he's trying to figure out where it's coming from. He hears that tap, tap, tap. And so he goes to his door, opens the door, nothing there. So he goes back to his reading and hears the tap, tap, tap again. So then he turns around and he's like, must be coming from, the window. It's probably the wind, So then he goes and opens up his window. And in flies the Raven. a raven. And so he's all like, the fuck, Raven? And the Raven's all like, nevermore! And he's like, so then he pulls up a chair, and because he wants to find out more about this Raven. And all the Raven just repeats is, nevermore. And so then, like, because he's already in this, like, mental state of, like, wanting to forget, but, like, also not wanting to forget because that was, like, his love, you know? He starts asking the crow questions. He starts asking the crow, or I mean the Raven. Whoops, my bad. In another mindset. So he starts asking the Raven, you know, things like, did Lenore, you know, get into heaven? Am I going to see her in heaven? And the bird is just like, nevermore, nevermore. And so, you know, like, he's at first trying to, like, you know, talk himself out of being spooked. He's like, you know, oh yeah, you just had, like, you know, an owner or master that was, like, a negative Nancy, I guess, that taught you, like, this negative word, and that's why you just repeat it. But even though he, like, knows that going into this, he still keeps, like, asking these, like, questions, like, knowing that it's going to give him a negative answer. So then it kind of, like, becomes this, like, self-fulfilling, like, or self-deprecating thing where he's just, like, knowingly gonna get negative answers, and he's, like, taking that to heart, and that's, like, kind of like what drives him to madness towards the end of the story. You know, he refers to the Raven as this, like, Plutonian, like, devil thing, you know, so he's, like, saying, like, the bird is straight from the underworld. And so towards the end of it, it's like, you know, like in a lot of Poe's poems, it's talking about, you know, how he's gonna be, like, it's not talking about, I don't know why I said that, kind of hard to keep focus, you know, but towards the end of it, you know, he's, like, slowly being driven into this madness, like in a lot of Edgar Allan Poe's stories. But yeah, I mean, I mean, it's a pretty easy plot to recount as far as plots of stories and poems go. So yeah, he's sitting at home chilling, reading spooky stuff. He gets spooked. Opens the window because he hears a tapping, and in flies this Raven that only knows the one word, nevermore. Gotta be such a, like, negative thing. And then so he's, like, asking the questions to this Raven that he knows he's going to get a negative answer for. So he gets this negative answer. And then, you know, the very last thing that he says is, what is it? I wonder, do I have my own Poe book? I used to have an Edgar Allan Poe book. Once Upon a Midnight Dreary. But yeah, so he has this, like, whole tone set where, you know, it's, like, supposed to be, like, sometime in December, so everything's already, like, cold and dead, and, you know, everything's, like, not pleasant. And so... And it's, like, funny, too, because, like, if you look into, like Norse mythology, for example, like, there's, you know, the god Odin has two ravens named Hugin and Munin, and they represent thought and memory, so it's kind of funny that would, like, still translate into, this poem because like one of the big themes in this is like memory and thought. So it's kind of funny that, you know, this raven would show up and be like, you know, making him remember about Lenore. And then he just like can't take it anymore. He can't take like trying to forget her anymore. So then he you know, just remembers everything and feels all of his feelings, which, you know, a lot of the times I think is a really good thing, but in this case, being driven to madness by your feels is not a good thing. So, moral of the story is don't let your bad memories drive you to madness. And I'll leave you with that. Thank you for coming. I hope you've enjoyed my recounting of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe.
And you're back.
Oh.
Wow. You
Whew.
you went away and you did that poem and you came back.
That was a journey.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good about myself. What do you guys think? You can show us by leaving tips down below or in the, how does this work?
Yeah, no, it's tip information in the comments.
In the comments.
Yeah.
Yes, do that.
We are winding down. I think we've got
We're
like
about halfway
few
through.
more.
Yeah.
And this spooky spook show.
Oh, no, yeah.
Who's next?
We have up next another New Orleans local, because they all are. We already said that. Miss Monarch M.
Mm-hmm.
What poem are they doing?
They're doing a short story. The one that creeped everybody out when you read it in high school. Like, this one's pretty fucked, you guys. So we're just going to get right into it. Miss Monarch M is going to give you their very, very wasted interpretation of The Pit and the Pendulum.
As Zeta rolls in, the power goes out. And much like a good New Orleanian, I start drinking. So tonight, it's time for a ghost story. The Pit and the Pendulum by Edgar Allan Poe. I was sentenced to death by the Spanish Inquisition. Horrific scene of the judges making their pronouncement. Candles and lights and strange scenes, then darkness. I actually passed out. The dreams I had while I passed out were of people carrying me down into a damp, dark place. As I was coming to, I remember the horror of the trial and the spectacle, hoping it wasn't real. It was real. But I was in a new place full of darkness. And suddenly I was very much awake. Whew. Oh, awake I was. Where am I? I want to know how big my chamber is. I tore my clothes enough to make the measurements that would measure my prison. And then I tripped. I fell onto the moist ground. cold, clammy ground. And so I ventured across the room and tripped another time. This time, instead of falling flat on my face, I fell mostly flat on my face, and my forehead felt a coolness. That was nothing. Probably in the middle of the room. There was a deep chasm. I realized I felt around and decided to see the edges and find the edges. I couldn't really see anything. It was dark. It was very, very dark, very cold, very damp. And I'm kind of glad that I fell, because if I had not fallen, I would have gone right into the pit. Realizing what I had done, I went right back to the wall. Found solace in that hard, hard wall, way away from that pit. And panic took me over, and anxiety. And after a while, I slept again. When I awoke, I had the worst cotton mouth ever. And another pitcher of water and more bread was right there next to me. I took in the light and tried to see what I could see. I felt around for the walls, some of which were stone, some of which were a very odd texture. Felt like metal. And there was a little bit of a glimmer of a light, so I could see these grotesque figures on the wall. I knew the pit was in the middle, but my perspective had changed. So I now tried to figure out where I was in relationship to my prison. I slept again, and when I woke up this time, I had a terrible, terrible thirst. And I was hungover like I'd been on a 5-day bender. I panicked. And I found myself strapped to a low table. And I looked up to see a picture of time on the ceiling. But instead of time having a scythe, that pendulum was what I saw. And then I heard the rats. They came from the pit. They came out of the pit. They wanted the food. There was food next to me. Again, no water. And when I looked back to see the pendulum, after my attention had been focused on the rats, the pendulum was closer. And I caught a glint of the razor sharp edge of that pendulum. So I barely escaped that crazy pit, to be tied to a table waiting to be cut in two by a razor sharp piece of metal. Swish, 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 back and forth, dropping down inch by inch, so close I could smell the metal. Metal. The terror in my brain rose. The bile in my body rose. I was strapped to a table. I couldn't go anywhere with this thing looming over me. How do I get out? How do I get out? Swish, swish, swish. The pendulum swung. Swish, swing. Move closer. Swish, swing. Closer. Swish, swing. Closer. And I couldn't get out. I needed the rats to chew through my bonds. Skittish creatures, rats. At first, they didn't want to come. And then all of a sudden, I was covered in them. Couldn't breathe, couldn't move. I'm tied to a table. There's a giant razor sharp thing above me, coming ever closer, ever closer, ever closer. And when I calmed down, the rats got the idea. Come eat. Come free me of my bonds. And they succeeded, those rats, just in time. The pendulum swiped my chest once, twice, 3 times. I shooed the rats off, escaped the table, and then the pendulum retreated into the ceiling. The images that I caught glimpses of earlier in sleeps ago made themselves known. Eyes beamed with heat, glowing. Terror rising at the seams on these walls. Heat radiating from the walls. And the only place I could go was toward the pit in the middle of the room to escape that heat. Then the walls moved. I screamed for death and lapsed into despair, knowing that the walls closing in on me would push me into that chasm that was deep and dark and full of terror and rats and water and like an oubliette. And that's where I was headed. It was heated walls or the oubliette. Forget about me. Let me die. Let me go. Let me make all of this just end. And the walls herded me toward that chasm. And finally holding on by my fingernails and my toenails on the edge of the pit. It's time for me to accept my fate. And I resigned myself to fall into the oubliette, and I resigned myself to escape those heated walls and those voracious rats, hoping upon hope that it would be a quick death. And I took a deep breath, and I screamed again, and I screamed again, and I screamed again. And I screamed and I screamed and I screamed and I screamed and I screamed. Holding on by fingernails, clawing at the walls, clawing at the dank, dark stone of the bottom of my cell. As walls were closing in on me, metal, heated, horrible, iron, terrorizing walls. And I closed my eyes to accept my fate. And then it came. I heard the sound of trumpets. And just as I was ready to fall into the oubliette and into that pit, a hand grasped mine and pulled me out of my prison.
Monarch. That was Miss Monarch M.
Yes, give it up. I know I can't hear you clapping, but I know that you are from wherever you are.
But you can send us virtual claps via tips on Venmo.
We're just going to
CashApp.
keep berating you with
Yeah.
that because, like, come on.
I mean,
we
that's
need
the thing.
money,
We're
you
supposed to.
guys.
We're supposed to. But yeah, so to bring this show to a close, yeah, we're terribly sorry that this is the last act of the night, but you are also terribly welcome.
Like, you're
Because-
so fucking lucky.
Yeah, you still get a whole nother act, and this one is amazing. So next up we have Clown Town.
Yes. The only New Orleans clown arts collective, Clown Town, Nola, is bringing you their interpretation of Hop Frog. And I can think of no better way to close this show.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. You're gonna enjoy it. So
So-
without further ado, Clown Town bringing you Hop Frog.
Hello, I'm Stanley Roy, and I'm doing Plastered with Poe. So in that, I've already had a lot of this, so I'm just gonna top off the situation. Oh, just so, Lord. Alright, Plastered for Poe. So, this is Hop Frog, and I bet none of you have ever heard of this Edgar Allan Poe gem. That's probably because it's problematic as fuck. But I'm gonna sort of like tell you the gist of it, so you don't need to know everything. Alright. There was this big old king, and at the end of the day, this king was just a dick. That's all he was just a big old dick. And he had this greasy goon squad that was like his like little sycophant fan club, and there were like 7 of them. And they loved practical jokes. And they thought they were so funny. And you want to know the truth? They weren't. Well, I'm gonna suck ice and choke myself. Okay. So this king was such a dick that he kidnapped 2 dwarfs, little people, from this little town somewhere, and that I don't even think the storyteller knew. That's Poe, because he wouldn't say. And one of them was named Hop Frog, and that was not Hop Frog's like baptism name, as fucking Poe put it. That was because he sort of did like a hop wiggle when he walked, because he like didn't do his leg days or something. I don't know. He just didn't have proper use of all of his legs and did like a hop wiggle. And that's just how he walked, and he got this nickname, which obviously is shitty. Again, back to the Dick King. He also kidnapped Trippetta. That's a nice name, right? Trippetta. Trippetta was beautiful and adored by everyone, even the king and all his sycophant fuckboys. But Trippetta was thick and small and like soup's cute, and everyone loved her, including Hop Frog. Alright, I wrote myself notes because I knew I was gonna get drunk. Yeah, and they loved each other. Trippetta and Hop Frog, because like they were together. It was like Patty Duke syndrome. What's that called? What's the where you get kidnapped by someone and then you love them? Stockholm syndrome. Patty Duke syndrome. Alright, so back to this king. He's a scumbag. He's there with his fucking sycophants. I just can't stop using that word. And he wanted to throw a ball. And a costume ball. And just like all assholes on Halloween, waited till the last fucking minute to decide what their costumes were. So he called old Hop Frog in, and Tripetta, because Hop Frog was the idea frog, or guy, or person. And the king called him in. The problem with this is that the king had this bad habit of non-consensually making Hop Frog drink, which is total dick move. Again, dick. So the king wanted Hop Frog to come up with an idea, but he got all distracted about getting Hop Frog drunk. And as soon as he made Hop Frog drink, Hop Frog got super sick and woozy, and like just can't hold his liquor for what. And Tripetta just began to beg the king, like desperately, like, please don't hurt Hop Frog. That's my boo. Like, what you trying to do? And the king was like, fuck you. And he bopped her on the nose. At least that's how I like to put it, because the other way is scary. Bopped her on the nose and threw his wine in her face, or clown glitter, in this interrision. Oh, but apparently, Mr. King, her eyes are here, not down here. Why are you throwing it here, Mr. King? Get out of them kazangas, you nasty. So he threw clown glitter into her kazangas from his brimming goblet. That's the way Poe put it, because I don't know what Poe was smoking when he wrote this. Like, some real good shit. So this... I have a drink. Whew. It's hot in here. So this sparked an idea for Hop Frog of revenge. And Hop Frog said this to the king. He said, "Dear king, you will be equipped as orangutans." I'm pretty sure in the book it's written orangutangs, which I don't even know. I didn't even bother Googling it because there's so many problems with this story. Where to begin? Alright, you will be equipped as orangutangs for the dress-up ball, and it will be a ball, a gas. Everyone will laugh. Wait, what? What did I just write? Oh, yes. And I will chain you up, because that'll look like you escaped from, like, the zoo. I don't fucking know. But there was going to be chains, and that will surely, most surely, scare the partygoers. So Hop Frog was an artist, and it was like, look, y'all, no one knows what a fucking orangutan looks like, so we can do whatever the fuck we want. So he started putting Ben Nye Clown White on the king, and glitter and fur, and he wanted to make it as realistic as possible, because he knew all of these people in this kingdom were idiots, because they all fell for this king who's like a fucking asshole. Yeah, so he did that, and the king was excited. He was excited about this party, and he loved to just fool people. That was his thing, just like fucking with people all the time. And Tribeca, what the fuck's her name? Tripetta? Hold on. Tripetta. That name. Tripetta was just like, don't fucking bop me on the nose and throw glitter on my tits. Like, I ain't got time for that. She was pissed. Alright. So, cut to the party. The party was hella tight, y'all. It was just like turned up. They were having a good old time, gay old time even. But it was very New Orleans time. they did the whole like, we're gonna start at 8 p.m. But no one showed up till like 11:30 p.m. Like, and that's just, they knew. Like, everyone knew, Hot Frog knew. That's just how we roll in New Orleans. So the plan was for the king and his little fuckboys to enter as these orangutangs chained up at midnight. And all the people were gonna be fooled. Alright. Oh, shit. So yeah, Hop chained them up and did all their makeup and shit. No kink shame. And then the king showed up, ran into the room. I don't know what, they were probably making noises or something, like, who even knows? I mean, again, problematic. The fucking king and his little fuckboys run in as the orangutangs and scare all the partygoers, and it works. They run. And then fucking Hop Frog pops up and is like, oh no, who are these animals that just escaped the insane asylum or whatever? And all the partygoers rush to the side of the party room, and then the Hop Frog grabs his big lighter and he hooks them to the ceiling and pulls them up and sets them on fire. And he's like, bitch, what? Fuck all y'all. And of course they scream or whatever. And then Hop Frog dramatically looks into the camera, or looks into the monologue of the fucking old ass story, and is like, yeah, this is the king. And he feels okay about bopping women on the nose and throwing drinks in their face. And his little fuckboy greasy goons are okay with that. So fuck them. You're set on fire. This is my last jest. I am no longer your jester. Bitch, bye. Gotta go. See you later. Check my deuces. And he gets with his girl, Tribeca? What the fuck's her name? Tripetta. And he gets with Tripetta, and they fly into the sunset, because they deserve it. They did not deserve any of that shit. Fuck the patriarchy, and down with the man, set him on fire, watch it all burn. I mean, Edgar Allan Poe was feisty, and we're here for that. I'll drink to that. I think that's it. I mean, Plastered with Poe for Clowntown. Here we go. Thanks for letting me get drunk with you. I'm Stanley Roy. Cheers.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for sticking with us through this entire show, through all of my awkwardness on camera, and
No, we're doing great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did a great show. Everyone give it up for us.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right.
I don't think we introduced ourselves. So, like, I'm Dick Jones. We introduced you because you performed, but, like,
Right.
yeah.
Dick Jones, Velvet Spade, a.k.a. Sundown
Sundown
Striptease. We are normally doing striptease, burlesque, but we wanted to have some fun during our spooky quarantine and do some Edgar Allan Poe drunken retellings. So
Yeah, and,
that's
like,
where this stemmed from.
times are really uncertain right now and scary, and everything pretty much sucks. So if we could, like, just give you an hour-ish of time where you can just, like, have fun and tune out for a minute, like, you know, we hope that we've given that to you and that you enjoyed that.
The best thing an entertainer can do during these tough times is entertain.
Right.
So we hope that we've done a good job of doing that.
Yeah. Thanks for coming with us on this journey, y'all. That was Plastered with Poe.
Yay!
Yeah!
And again, last time, tipping info is down below. Tip our performers, tip us, and we'll split those with our performers. And until next time, signing out. This is Sundown Striptease.
Love y'all.